Hi guys, this is Lindsay Coyle and I am doing video number 2 for the Art of Enough. So for those that saw the first video, I am doing a kind of I don't know how to write a book, but I'm really comfortable in front of the video, so I figured I'm going to speak my thoughts and I'm going to use these videos to kind of transcript back into a book. And so I'm inviting people along in it in the sense that you're going to have an idea of like where the thoughts are coming from and how I got there, and then there'll be an actual end result from it, hopefully. But where I'm at right now is that 43 years old. I've had my life experience that I've had, and it's shaped me just like everybody else out there. And I recently started counseling therapy, and it is amazing what a difference that can make. And so I'm not saying everybody needs therapy, but everybody needs therapy. Sorry, not sorry. And you'll get that about me. It's like I get enough to know that telling somebody that they need therapy is not going to go over well, and you still need therapy. And people will be like, I'm good. But what's it like to be great? What's it like to actually put shit to bed that you've been dealing with for 20 years and that never gets resolved? Hey? So, and there is a sense of completion unlike any other sense of completion. So, like to give you an example, forgiveness. Like to forgive someone, I like listening to Brene Brown, and she talked about forgiveness being like grieving, because you have to let something die in your act of forgiveness, and that you're going to grieve something that you let die as part of the forgiveness. So like one of the like for myself personally, like my husband and I had an argument. We've been together for 26 years 26 years this year, and married for 18. And there have been some arguments that we've had since like day one, the same one. It's like, why are we still having the same argument? Because we never actually deal with it in a way that actually feels complete. And so that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now, is I'm like, I am done repeating myself. I am done wasting time and energy on futility. And so, and I'm really proud of my husband and I, because we've handled more things in the last 6 months than we have in the last 26 years. Like, wow. And it's not easy. It's not even fun, but it's worth it. And so we're kind of at this stage where we're just like, all right, what's next? Let's do this kind of thing. And I'm just putting it out there just because it's been such a, it's one thing to, as a partnership, to have that progress, but it's also this other part of like just my sense of self in how I'm taking on making my life work for me. This is all about boundaries and stuff like that, that I am a recovering people pleaser, and like this is huge for me, because I'm like, that doesn't work. And all of a sudden it's like, what's worked for 20 something years, and all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, no. And kudos to my husband, because he's been phenomenal through this. He's definitely kind of looking at me going like, seriously, as new things come up, and I'm like, it's a good thing you love me. So anyways, I'm at this stage, I'm just wanting to write my book, and I am struggling, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do these videos and let people know who I am, why I'm here, what I do, all that kind of stuff. And right now, this is what's there for me because it's so alive right now for me. And I thought I'd share it just because it makes a difference. And um, and I just hope that anybody that was like curious as to why would you get counseling, don't wait until you're suffering. We don't go to the doctors only when we're sick. We have checkups. And sometimes at checkups, things come up and you're like, ooh, I should probably deal with that. It's very true. So take that for what it's worth. But there is, within every fiber of my being, there is not a person, soul on this planet that doesn't need counseling or therapy in some way, shape, or form. So just like know that. Oh, my neighbor's dog. He's got a couple more in him. Okay, we're good. So, anyways, what's prominent for me right now is so that you get who I am. So, I'm going to actually kind of let you into a little bit about how I was brought up, and you'll see how that may have shaped me. So, my parents, Val and Dennis, they had me as a teenage pregnancy. And I know that there can be stigma around that, but I'm proud of it. And I'm like, because my parents, at their age, like, became adults and did what they needed to do. And they were together up until my dad's death in 2010. So that to me is like they beat all odds. And I had that as part of my upbringing. So did I have, teenage parents? Yes. Did I have a huge circle of influence through the village with my aunts and uncles and grandparents and everything? Yes. And I can be really honest that I had a wonderful childhood. My brother and I, we're, you can't say trauma free, but like nothing on the radar that, would make a good chapter in my book. We had a great childhood. We we had a pool. Like I guess when I was in grade 4 or 5, we got a pool, and our family played. Like after dinner, we would go out and have a swim, and we would fight over this inner tube that was like tiny. Well, that's not loud. And anyways, it was like this inner tube that there was nothing about it, but it was coveted. It was like everybody drowned each other to try to be the owner of this inner tube. And so I spent hours wrestling and chasing and throwing it, and it was stupid and yet glorious, because that's my memory of playing with my family. And as a mom with 2 kids that are like 9 and 11, I'm like, that definitely shaped me. Playing and wrestling and tickling and just giving them that time, it's important. So that's something that definitely shaped me. And it's weird because so this is going to be like, people are going to be like, why are you telling this? And I'm like, okay, so I wear my beliefs on my wrist. I don't hide things. I'm transparent, and you can do as you please with it. But I am a pro-choice person. And when, I think of my mom being a teenage mom, I can see that she chose to have me. And she had every reason to choose not to have me, but she made that choice conscious, and that was evident based on the childhood that she was able to give me, because that was a choice. She wanted me. I never felt like a mistake, and that is huge. So I want people to understand that even though I was the biggest candidate to have been aborted, I also get that I was chosen to be born, and that my parents made, like, they knew the sacrifices, and they knew, well, I'm not sure if they actually really knew, but they made that choice. And so I'm just saying that as a child, knowing that I was loved and that they chose to have me makes a difference. And that's, I know that sometimes people will use that choice as like it supports like pro-life, and it does, because I don't think that we're dealing with a black and white matter. It's just not. And so I have a way of looking at things more. I always pull back, and because when you're too close to it, you can't see it. And seeing that actually shaped how pro-choice looks for me. I've held the hand of friends that have had abortions, one for, by choice, and, the pain and the trauma of that, and one by medical necessity, and the grieving and the trauma of that. And all I know is they are good people doing the best that they can with what they've got. And I would never judge them, never have, never will. And that is what carries me. And then, dun dun dun, is the other thing, is that I think about things a lot. And so pro-choice to me is autonomy over self, over your body, not just reproduction rights, but over your body. And with the pandemic and the whole great mask debate, they really have to stop saying that in the news so much. Anyways, I'm like sitting there going, it's the same arguments going on, because they're talking about, a vaccine, and people are, you're not making me take it, and you can't make me do this, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, funny story about autonomy is that it's not, you don't always know what you're fighting for when it comes to autonomy. And so I look at pro-life and I see good people who absolutely cherish babies, and I can't make them wrong for that. That is honorable and not something I can make bad. So when I say that I'm pro-choice, I don't hate anyone for their views. I don't we just have different views. That's it. And so what I want to say is that autonomy over self, right now we are 7 billion in population, and the debate over pro-life and pro-choice has been going for so long with very little progress, really. And I'm just like, we're never going to agree. Let's just put that out there. We will never agree on this. However, I don't think we understand what we're fighting for, because once we remove autonomy over our body, we set a precedent. And right now, it is pro-life and pro-choice. But as our world population gets bigger, we have to be open to the fact that if the government can tell us that we can't have an abortion, as population control, which has been exercised by countries already, they can mandate population control through abortions. And that's where I'm like, we can't allow that precedent to happen. And as I see people going like, you can't make me take a vaccine and you can't make me this, I was like, you're right. You are absolutely right. And you can not deny that autonomy on anybody for anything. And it is the same for pro-choice and pro-life. So I'm pro-choice in every sense of it. And I believe in freedom, and I believe in governing ourselves. I am a highly political person, and so I believe in policies and I believe in all that stuff. And yet, I don't like the way that we are governed by this idea that the whole population is the lowest common denominator, and that's to the level that they have for us. Like, you can't possibly handle all the information, so we're going to give you this dumbed down part. And I'm like, screw you. I can get a lot more than what you're giving me, and I get it, and I don't like it. And governance has to actually elevate the game a little bit more in that sense. So it's like, I'm this complex person that believes in governance, but don't govern me. And I believe in the value of life, and I believe in pro-choice. And it's, I think the part that is there is, I don't believe in dichotomies. There is probably not one single thing in life that is an either or. It's could be both, always. You're not just pro-choice and pro-life, or pro-life. It's both. I'm a mix. It's like here in Alberta, I can be for oil and gas and the environment at the same time. It's crazy. But it's never portrayed that way as it's debated. It's you're either for or against, with or not with, and that's not the way it needs to be. So that's today's video. It's more about just helping you understand that I have views, and I have reasons why I have those views, and you don't have to agree with me. But it's the way I see the world, and it's the way I see people, and that is part of how I operate the world. So, and I get that starting off on video 2 with pro-life and pro-choice is probably a little wah, wah, wah. And I think you're big enough to handle this, because you don't have to like what everybody says, but listening and actually just trying to understand, that's all you got, because you certainly can't control anyone outside of yourself. Okay, I'm gonna sign off, and I will be doing another video when I get a chance, probably later on this week. I don't know how often I'm gonna do them, but I'm not gonna talk for the sake of talking. I actually have to have something to say in order to do this, and I'm almost at 18 minutes, so it's like, I got the gift to gab. Okay, take care. Talk to you later. Bye.